on it. Anything to do with school choice also.
Okay.
But also, separate from school choice, we're going to take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it. We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers
central casting.
here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse.
I do think we need significant reform in education. The Department of Education seems to regard as its primary duty foisting propaganda on our children, as opposed to getting them a good education. It's insane. The priority should be teach kids skills that they will find useful later in life, and leave any sort of social propaganda out of the classroom.
The Republican Party have been openly anti-public education for decades at this point, and it looks like it's about to get even worse. Project 2025 lays clear their plans to decimate the public school system, slash funding for libraries and museums, and ultimately dissolve the Department of Education entirely.
We will make sure that when a kid is in the womb, they're as safe as they are in a classroom.
What this bill is saying is, some of these niche subjects like critical race theory, other types of DEI-infused courses and majors, Florida's getting out of that game. If you want to do things like gender ideology, go to Berkeley, go to some of these other places. That's fine. It's fine. And there's nothing, if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that per se. But for us, with our tax dollars, we want to focus on the classical mission of what a university is supposed to be.
Look at the way that Charlie Kirk schools the woke indoctrinating teachers. Maybe he needs to be Secretary of the Department of Education. There's so much that we can do to get America back on track, and President Trump is already doing a great job with that, from Tulsi Gabbard to Bobby Kennedy, and of course my best friend Matt Gaetz as Attorney General.
Of course, 2 years ago, more than 1,600 books were banned in the United States of America. Here are three of the key books that the right-wingers have been going after. Khaled Hosseini's The Kite Runner, about the dangerous fanaticism, authoritarianism, and abuse of the Taliban, a right-wing religious fundamentalist movement all about censorship and repressing women's control over their own bodies and their own fertility. The Handmaid's Tale, Margaret Atwood's extraordinary dystopian novel about a right-wing misogynist movement which uses high technology and depraved religious ideology to control not only the minds of their followers, but the private and public lives and the fertility of women. And of course, George Orwell's 1984, because they have no sense of irony. They're always trying to censor this one. Mr. Chairman,
gentleman's time's expired.
We need more politicians reading books in America and fewer politicians trying to censor books in America.
And continue.
It is amazing to me, thank you, Mr. Chairman, it's amazing to me to see politicians who oppose a universal violent criminal background check and who defend assault weapons after the massacres at Columbine, after Parkland, Florida, after Sandy Hook in Newtown, Connecticut, after Uvalde, after Santa Fe, Texas, that they are now going to keep America's children safe by banning The Handmaid's Tale in 1984. We can do better for the children of America.
Donald Trump has been very open about his love for the, in his words, poorly educated, and it's no coincidence that Trump is threatening to withdraw funding from not only public schools, but also universities. Book bans, restrictions on Black history classes, and anti-DEI initiatives are all a part of a deliberate effort to silence diverse voices and prevent us from learning from both history and from each other. Public libraries, which have already been attacked by the right, will likely face even greater threats under the next administration. And look, it is always important to seek out the knowledge that the people in power are trying to suppress. Even right-wingers love to say that. And now more than ever, we need to engage with the topics that make the right, and maybe even sometimes ourselves, uncomfortable. Whether it's the history of labor movements, the fight against fascism, abroad and domestically, diverse perspectives on gender, and the undeniable reality of climate change. By reading and sharing ideas, we not only defend our right to learn, but we defend our right to learn from each other and from our community. One thing's for sure, the right hates it when we stick together. So huddle up.
Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.